Alright, welcome back everybody. Today I'm gonna just kind of be messing around a little bit. I just want to talk. First and foremost, there's a new car. I got it. We're gonna build it. I don't know what I want to do with it just yet, but we'll figure that out. What I want to talk about today though is how important I think it is that we make ourselves available for kind of like anybody or anything that's in need. What I mean by that is kind of like you see somebody hurting, or you see somebody in trouble, or you see signs that this is a thing, and a lot of people just kind of turn and like look the other way, right? And like you see it a lot on like social media. There's like a bunch of fighting videos where two people are fighting, like fist fighting or whatever, and there's 16 people around, and the only thing that they're doing is recording the fight instead of manning up, breaking it up. They just want to be viral in some type of way, so they tend to just record. And I think that that's super selfish, very stupid. I don't even know the name of the new car actually. Let's look at that first. Komodo? Komodo? K-O-M-O-D-O. Alright. Anyway, so a lot of times you see these things happening, right? People getting really just kind of like angry at somebody else to the point that they don't feel they can do anything else other than beat them up or whatever. And the way that I see that personally is that's so avoidable. I mean, there's just no reason for it, honestly. It's just a very tough conversation to have sometimes, because sometimes you might be talking to one of your best friends and you want to be on their side, which you can still be on their side, but you can talk them out of beating somebody up. Because people that do that, they can hurt somebody really bad and then get, you know, charges pressed on them or something like that, and then they go to jail, or they now have a big fine to pay for something so juvenile a lot of the time. I don't think there's a reason to fight, period. That's just who I am. Maybe I'm just a sissy, I don't know. And that's fine. I'll label me that, whatever. Let's see what stock paints they have. Anyway, so there's that, right? Fighting. Get out of that. Talk somebody out of that. Don't be there. If it's gonna happen and you know it's gonna happen and you can't stop it, don't be present, because guilty by association is 100% a thing. So you could be charged or fined just as much as somebody else, just by being there. I don't know why, but I kind of feel like this would look cool. Anyway, it's a tough conversation to have, because again, you don't want to be against your friends or whatever, but sometimes you have to be against your friends to get them out of doing something very stupid. And yeah, the other thing is look for signs of depression and stuff like that. It's just very hard. I mean, it's literally habit, right? You could look at it like that. Like, are they acting different? Are they talking different? Are they not as chipper as they usually are, or whatever? Stuff like that. And where that comes from is you see all these things of like bullying in schools and stuff like that. And it's like, it gets to the point that there's a school shooting. A lot of times that could be avoidable. Not every time. Some people, they have something going on in their mind where that's the only option, no matter what. And that sucks. And then people pay for it the wrong way, and there's no way out of that. But there are times that it is 100% avoidable. And all it takes is for someone to see those signs, speak up, reach out, be available, and just let whomever it is know that they're not alone, that they have someone to talk to or vent to or whatever. And it doesn't have to be a huge gesture like from you, because honestly sometimes just saying hi to somebody is exactly what's needed, and that's such a small little thing, but to the other person, the receiving end, that's massive, right? Like, that could be literally all they need to not commit suicide or not, you know, go on some type of shooting spree in Las Vegas at a concert venue and shooting a bunch of people or whatever, right? Like, just things that we've seen already. Sometimes that's all it takes, is literally that, is just a very small gesture from you, and it goes a very long way, because they just may not have that type of like comfort system, like that comfort blanket. So if you become that comfort blanket, who knows, they might have something to teach you that's like super cool or interesting or whatever. And if they do this terrible thing, nobody's gonna ever get to see that awesome thing or that person or anybody that they may take with them, stuff like that. And the signs are a lot of times very clear, sometimes not. Like, look at Robin Williams, right? I mean, that guy had everything. He was on the top of the world, loved by literally everybody. He looked happy every time people would talk to him and all that. I don't know about the end. I don't really remember that. But next thing you know, he just, for whatever reason in his mind, couldn't justify being here anymore, which sucks. Because then he went through with what he went through with. And that decision is super hard for me to wrap my mind around. But I'm also not in that mindset, so like, I'm not there, right? But to somebody that is there, that's so easily like justifiable, because that's all that they can think about, and that's all that they're thinking about currently, right now. So make yourself available, reach out, and if you can't do anything yourself, reach out to their parents or to one of their friends that you know talks to them a lot. If you won't be able to do it directly, like if they're just not going to listen to you and you know it or whatever, or you're not comfortable being the one to reach out to them directly, which I understand 100%. That's an awkward situation for some people. I think in this case, it's not really. This is going to come off rude, and I don't mean it to be rude, so please don't take it like this guy is just being a jerk and bossing us all around or whatever. But if somebody's going through this type of stuff and you don't reach out, because it feels weird or whatever, it's not about you. You're not doing it because of your feeling in this case. You're doing it for them, and you're just trying to make sure that it is aware that something is happening. And guess what? You might say something, and then they go, "No, I'm literally good. Like, I appreciate you reaching out and stuff like that, but I'm fine." And they could be lying. They could be telling the truth. You have to take them for their word, and that's fine. If that is the case, that's perfectly fine. Not everybody that shows signs is actually going through that. They could just be having an off day or an off week, and that happens. You know, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to be doing something drastic. It could just be they're not getting enough sleep, so it's throwing off their whole entire week. I mean, I can tell you right now, I get super tired because I don't sleep enough. That's my own fault, but I don't sleep enough all the time, and that, you know, messes with me. But I would like to believe that without having a direct support system, I have a support system, because I see and talk to a lot of people enough that I feel somebody would reach out and be like, hey man, you're not acting right, you're kind of off, like you don't seem like you, or whatever, are you getting enough sleep? And they might ask me that, and I would really hope that they would. I'm not saying that everybody is going to have a thing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying really look out for that, because somebody out there is going through this. Somebody right now is literally doing, to me, the unthinkable, or plotting something, and guess what? It could be avoidable in some way. Somebody that sees this happening is just letting it happen or whatever, and it could be avoidable. It's just, I guess where this is coming from, I'm not going to go into details of anything, but I know somebody that just had to deal with this in a huge way, and the only thing that it's like hard to talk about it without being in detail. So I would say, okay, so this just happened, and there were signs and stuff like that, and it's not that they didn't reach out. There was plenty of reaching out. I don't feel like there was a fault in anybody's thing here. I think in this case it was one of those avoidable or non-avoidable situations. What was going to happen was going to happen, I think. But there are avoidable situations, and in those cases, try to find those avoidable situations. I don't know if this one was, and that's terrible. I hate that. I hate that anybody has to go through this. I am glad that I'm able to be there in some capacity. I wish that it was a better capacity where I could actually do something that would change. Unfortunately, there's literally nothing I can do to change the situation or the thoughts on the situation. All I can say is I'm sorry to anybody that is going through this, has gone through something like this, or if you are going through this, I'm here for you. I don't know you probably, and I don't have to know you. Like I keep saying, if you need to talk, I'm here. I am more than happy to talk. I will do anything in my power that, you know, I can actually handle to make sure that I'm available at any time. And even if it's not you directly that's having the issue, right? Like if you know somebody and you don't know what to say, hit me up. I'd be more than happy to go through maybe what I would do or what I would say in a certain situation. I'm not saying I've been through a lot of situations, but I'm just saying, like, let's talk it out. Let's figure out how to handle a situation together, because guess what? It could be tomorrow that I'm in a different situation that I need that information on, and we can brainstorm together now, come up with a possible solution, and maybe I test it tomorrow because I get news from somebody, from somewhere, from something like that, and I can relay that information that way. I don't know. Reach out if you guys need help, for sure. And it doesn't have to be to me. There's the suicide help hotline or whatever. There's counseling. There's counselors all over the place. If you're in school, go see your school counselor. That's literally what they're there for, is stuff like that, or different hard times. And it doesn't have to be suicide. It doesn't. That's not what I'm getting at 100%. I am getting at that because that's where this stems from, this talk. But it doesn't have to be. It could literally be you're 16 and pregnant, right? And you don't know what to do. You get the world ahead of you, but then you also have this thing, you know, coming up where you're gonna give birth soon or whatever, and you're scared as to how to handle it and all that. Or if you're gay or something like that, and you don't know how to tell your parents and all that. That's literally why you have school counselors. That's why you have people available to help talk you through this. You're not the only one that's ever had to deal with it. You're not the first, you're not the last. You won't be the last. That's just a fact of life. Unfortunately, for some things, it's harder, right? But those are hard topics, man. You got to tell your mom you're pregnant, you're 15, 16 years old. Holy crap, that would be rough. I haven't had to do that. I also can't get pregnant. I can get people pregnant, and that's a hard conversation as well. And I haven't had to do that, you know, ever. So that's great, but there's hard things to say to certain people that you don't know how they're going to take it. Are you going to be friends after you do this? Are you going to be disowned by your parents? You're scared for that stuff. Well, talk it out. Talk to somebody that's gone through it. There's people that go through it. There's probably forums on Facebook or on Google it. There's probably forums of people that have gone through this and how they handled it, how they went through this situation and the responses they got. And maybe it's an uplifting thing. Maybe it actually was more positive. And if it's a gay talk where you got to say something to your parents, a lot of times your parents already know because they gave birth to you. Like, they know you from birth. They can sense that something is bugging you, stuff like that. And a lot of times they already know, and all you're doing is just confirming for them, and you won't notice a change in how they act because you haven't already. And then next thing you know, you tell them and they're like, we know. We're happy you finally told us. We've been waiting. And that's got to be a fantastic feeling. Such a relief, right? Just such a weight lifted. Like I'm saying, is it doesn't have to be a life or death thing. It could literally be just, I got an F in this class. You're a straight A student and you got an F or a B, and you don't know how your parents are going to take it because you've been straight A's your whole life, right? It could be very juvenile that way. It doesn't have to be, like, again, life-changing, life or death situation. It doesn't have to be that. Just hard conversations. Get through it, but don't do it alone if you can't do it alone or you don't want to do it alone. There are more than enough avenues and more than enough people down those avenues that are willing to help you out because people have been there. They're going through it now. They've gone through it already. And that's literally what their, I guess, life goal is from here. People go through this stuff, and then because of that situation they went through, their whole life changes in a way that they were going to be a firefighter one day, and they see this thing happen, and now they're going to be a psychologist or something like that, right? Like, oops. And it changes their whole career path, right? They were going to go put out fires and be a paramedic and handle things that way. But now they're just going to go talk to people about these situations. And I don't mean to say it so, like, nonchalant, like, oh, that's all they're going to do. No, that's massive. That's such a huge, huge thing. But what I'm saying is they're going to be this instead of a lawyer, right? I'm going to be a lawyer, and then something happens, and now I want to be a doctor because this coronavirus stuff. I'm curious as to that. I'd rather help in that way than help somebody else not go to prison because they murdered somebody or whatever. Stuff like that. Like, things change people's minds. That could be one of them. So you could literally get a counselor or something like that who has literally dealt with this situation firsthand. This situation being whatever situation you're in. And that's what made them choose the career path they ended up choosing. Or maybe it's somebody your age that's gone through it, and it's just a, how did you handle it? How are you handling it? What did you do to do this? I don't know. There's just a lot that you can do to not have to worry about a lot of things. And I do believe that in this case, with something so massively life-changing, I mean, just with how much bad is in the world and all that, don't do it alone. Just don't. Somebody's here for you. It can be a random stranger, and they can give you the best advice you've ever heard. And you'll never know until you talk. But if you don't talk, then you're never ever gonna think that somebody else has been where you're at, even though they have. So it will be the hardest thing you've ever gone through, but it doesn't have to be alone. At least it can still be the hardest thing you've ever gone through, but it doesn't have to be alone. That's, I guess, the moral of this story. So we'll go ahead and end it here. Sorry that it wasn't a super fun, fantastic video, but I do believe it needs to be said. It needs to be said more than just this, right? Like, it's just not talked about a lot, and it's not talked about enough, and it's scary situations, so people shy away from it and they don't stare it down head on. They cower away because they don't know what to do or what to handle, or not what to handle, how to handle it. And I get it. There's so many situations you're going to go through in life. You gotta have a tough conversation with your boss. You gotta ask for a raise. That's stressful, right? Guess what? There's stuff on the internet on how to go about that conversation. There's podcasts of people talking about how to handle those situations, how to talk better, because people have stage fright, and it's just like those things. People have been there, they've done it, they've learned from it, and now they're willing to help you as much as they can. So just take that help, any type of handout. My hand is out for anything you need, whatever. If I don't know how to handle the conversation or the situation that you're in, I'll try to find somebody or something, or we'll learn it together. Again, I apologize, it's not a super fun video or anything like that, but we'll get back on just regular play and stuff like that after this. But I do feel that this needs to be said, because it's not said enough. It's just not. Otherwise, I feel like there wouldn't be as much as there is out there in terms of all this stress and suicide and mass shootings and stuff like that. I feel like there would be less if people were reaching out because they needed help, or if people saw that somebody may need help and would reach out that way. I feel like the situations would be a lot different. I can't guarantee that, but that's what I believe. Anyway, if you guys are enjoying the content or hate what I had to say, or you guys are curious as to what else I believe or think, leave comments, like and subscribe. Definitely appreciate all that. I can't stress it enough, and I'm sorry that it's not an uplifting video. I don't know how many times I can say that, because it's not entertaining in that way, but I think that it's knowledge, right? Like, and I'm not super smart, but I mean, I've been through enough different life experiences that I can help in some way, or I feel like it anyway. But on that note, as always, just always stay kind, and that kind of is where that came from, is don't be a bully. Always stay kind, and always stay positive. That's It stems from literally just going through different life experiences myself and knowing that if you let it, this world is going to tear you down. There's a lot of bad in this world. There's a ton of great things in this world too. Latch onto those. The bad things, don't forget them, but don't latch onto them because there's too many. It'll always bring you down. And that's where the always stay positive comes in. And that's lately, and as of the last few years, has been kind of like my life motto. So always stay kind and always stay positive, guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one.